Good morning and welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. to help small businesses across the UK to get their questions answered. If you've got any questions throughout this episode, then please ensure you put them in the comments on the live feed and the team will curate those and send them over to me. If you need any more advice during this show or outside of this show, then please make sure you join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. There's loads of experts, accountants, business owners on there 24/7 sharing their experience and knowledge with each other. During the live session, there will also be a poll, so please do engage with it and I'll reveal the results at the end. And also make sure that you're registered for the QuickBooks free annual conference. It's QuickBooks Connect. There's a link in the chat for you to be able to go in and book your space. It's taking place virtually on the 9th and 10th of March. The event brings entrepreneurs and small business owners, along with their accountants, together to grow and learn and connect. My name is Johann Goree. I'm the Managing Director of the OnPoint Accounting Group. We are a group of accounting firms dotted across the UK, supporting small businesses to grow and thrive in these times of challenging economics. So today I wanted to talk to you about a topic that the media is covering in huge detail, but from one angle. And I think we ought to be looking at it from our own angle as business owners. So the topic today is about energy prices. Last week, we saw the cap on energy prices was going to increase about 54%. But what's really important is to remember that that cap is only enforced upon pricing for residential properties. It's not enforced on business properties. Business energy prices have been going up gradually for the last year. In some cases, it's not even that gradual. And people that are coming out of fixed term contracts are finding that their prices are absolutely jumping up. It's phenomenal how big these price increases are. And while the government has put in place some financial support for homes and individuals, there's nothing out there for businesses. So it's really important as business owners that we take it upon ourselves to come up and find our solutions to helping to reduce the amount we spend on energy. And we do that basically by reducing the consumption of energy. This is something I've been working on with a lot of our clients over the last couple of years, because it's a part of that sustainability. It's part of being greener. And there's also a lot of benefits for building up client retention, kudos amongst your client customers for your environmental activities, which also reduce your spending in energy, which is always really helpful. So today's poll question is, have you got a smart meter? And the reason I ask that is because we've all got smart meters at home. There's very few homes in the UK now that don't have smart meters. It's certainly one of the first things I asked my energy company to install when I moved house last year. And it's such a powerful piece of equipment. It tells you where you're consuming your electricity, when you're consuming it, same with the gas. And it just helps you understand why your bills are going to be what they are, and you can see what's happening. So I know when my wife turns her hairdryer on, my live energy consumption jumps by 5p an hour. I know when we stick the microwave on or turn the ovens on, my prices is going to jump up consumption wise. And because of that, I'm a bit more careful. I don't heat up the oven for ages before I put my food in there. I turn it on long enough to heat up and then put my food in. And the moment it's cooked, the oven gets turned off. Before that, before seeing the cost increase and the evidence of the smart meter gives me, I might have turned it on, come back to it 20 minutes later, put my food in, might have forgotten to leave it, turn it off once I've finished cooking. But I'm much, much more aware of it now because of my smart meter. So we need to take that lesson in our personal lives and implement it in our businesses. So if you've not got a smart meter in your business, have a chat with your utility provider. and they'll look at installing one for you. Some are doing it for free, some are charging a small amount for the installation. But the insight it gives you to your business is phenomenal. So we've got a client, she runs a cafe. As they walk out the door, they check the smart meter because they know what their baseline is. They know what it is to run for the property, to run the fridges, etc., overnight. And if they check it and it's above that, it means they've left something turned on, which it sounds daft. Oh, I've left the coffee machine turned on, but that's 2 or 3p an hour. There's 24 of those hours in a day. There's 30 odd of those in a month. But it soon starts snowballing and adding up. So every time they walk out the door now, they check the smart meter and make sure it's at that base level they're expecting. If it's not, they go back in and they check, right, what have we left turned on? What's running that we don't know about? And because of that, they've seen their energy bills drop because there's a lot less careless use of energy. They spend a lot of time going around keeping the front door closed. They have installed one of those heating curtains that keeps the hot air in and the cold air out. There's lots and lots of things that we can all be doing to reduce our energy consumption. And I think as business owners, we all want to do that because it reduces our bills. But then there's another benefit, and that is the prestige of energy saving. The kudos, the social media attention you can get for being a sustainable business is phenomenal. And there's businesses out there that have built huge reputations and huge brands off the back of being sustainable businesses. A couple of them are guests on this show quite regularly, like the Bamboo Brush guys. They have built a business selling a sustainable product and educating young people in how to be sustainable. And that's really important. But it means that actually small businesses can take a lesson from that, and they can start explaining how they're eco-friendly to their customers and potential customers through social media. So our guest tomorrow is very, very good at social media, and we'll explain tomorrow how to get onto the back of trends that you can follow and take part in. And environmentalism and sustainability is definitely a big trend in the social media world that small businesses can start bragging about. Take a picture of your smart meter as it gets installed, explain to your customers what you're doing to be green. It's all really, really important information that if we don't tell our customers, they don't know. But as soon as we tell them that we're doing this, they then take that into account, and it builds loyalty, it builds brand and reputation, and that's really important. So there's 2 huge benefits of being sustainable. One is it reduces your costs. And in today's world where costs are rising constantly, anything we can do as business owners to reduce our costs is fantastic. And the other is the social media that it gives you. What I've seen some companies do is to have a sustainability champion or an environmental champion. And that it's that person's job to basically help remind staff and explain to customers what we're doing as a small business to improve our sustainability. That person will be passionate about the environment, about reducing the footprint within the business. They'll be looking at solutions of how to improve things. So if you can find someone that's really enthusiastic and energetic about it, that becomes quite infectious with people around them. So definitely something to look at is how to reduce your bills by being more energy savvy, being more sustainable. It's a huge, huge benefit to how we can run the business. So yeah, hopefully that'll give you all something to think about. If you've not got a smart meter, it's my number 1 recommendation at the moment for cost savings. Get a smart meter, understand where your usage is, and try and work out how we can reduce it. So let's move on to some questions then. So our first question is from Dean on Facebook Messenger. In QuickBooks, how do you enter split expense in cash? In the cash register, I'm not seeing the same split button that appears next to the enter button in the bank account registers. Okay, Dean, I've not dealt with cash in QuickBooks in quite a while. The easiest thing for you to do there, Dean, is to reach out to the QuickBooks support team, because it will also potentially depend on what QuickBooks product you're using. If it's self-employed or if it's the QuickBooks Online, there's slightly different options and different features. So reach out to the QuickBooks support team using their live chat, and they'll be able to help you with that one. Tariq on Instagram DM. How do you declare foreign income? It's my first year of my e-commerce business. I have a lot of buyers from Europe, the US, Canada, Australia, and parts of Asia. Okay, I think you're asking this from a tax perspective. Ultimately, you've got a business, and all that money is coming into your business. Regardless of what currency it's in, it's coming into your business and it sits on your profit and loss. So it should just be declared that way. But again, this depends on whether you're a limited, sole trader, etc. So if it's all coming into your business as one business's income, then it just gets declared as income on your accounts, and then that will go onto your tax return. I hope that helps. If you need any more detail to that, Tariq, definitely reach out to an accountant or a bookkeeper. I'm happy to have a chat with you, but I just need to know a bit more around the context of that to understand quite what you're asking me, because it's quite a complex area, and you could be asking me all sorts there. So let's reach out and have a chat if you need to. Right. Eliza on Twitter DM, I'm concerned about the increase of the cost of living for many of my team. Do you have any advice on how we as an employer can help alleviate the pinch for our employees? So as an employer, it is difficult to work out how you're going to support your employees with their cost of living. The easiest answer is to increase their wages. And by by increasing their wage, they have more money in their pocket at the end of each month to help cover the cost of living. But that comes at an expense. And is that affordable for your business? It's one of those things that you need to really sit down and plan out a cash flow for. So if you're looking to increase your employees' wages so that you can help them with their cost of living, the best option for you is to have a cash flow plan and base it on today's costs and incomes and tweak the wage line. Add 5%. What does that do to your cash flow? Is that sustainable? If it is, okay, that's great. You can consider it. If it's not, then it's a non-starter. You're going to have to increase your sales or reduce your costs elsewhere to increase that line's amount of spending, basically. So increasing costs is going to be a challenge for all of our employees. If you can afford to increase their wage, brilliant. If not, then we're really quite stuck as to what we can do as employers. But pointing team members that are struggling to places like Citizens Advice, most banks now have resources to help people budget, understand their cost of living, and how they can save money. So it's always worth pointing people in that direction as well. So I hope that helps, Eliza. Right. Our next question is from Clive on Facebook Messenger. How do we go about approaching large retailers about stocking our products? I'm now working with some local shops which have been successful, but I have no idea how to make the jump to the high street. I'm not an expert in this area, Clive, but what I can tell you from what my clients have gone through is it's extremely difficult, it's extremely time consuming, and basically what you need to do is dig around and work out who you need to approach at each retailer. If you're going for the big brands like the Tesco's, the Asda's, etc., find out who you need to email, who you need to call, who do you need to be able to get in front of to pitch your product, because that's ultimately what you're doing. Now, these big retailers, they will have multiple rounds of pitching to decide whether they're going to stock your product. They'll have quality testing. They're going to want to see manufacturing processes. They basically want to protect themselves from anything going wrong with your product, your brand, and make sure that it's right for them. If you get through all of that, the rewards are huge. The opportunity is huge. But if you're quite new, it will take time, because they also like to see trends. They also like to see history of trading. So if you're only just getting into the smaller shops now, you might need to get a couple of years under your belt. But as I say, I'm not an expert with this field. I'm just telling you what I've seen from my clients, and that it is very hard work, very time consuming, and it's a very big roller coaster with more downs than there are ups most of the time. So I would personally keep focusing on small, medium retailers, local businesses, prove the concept, prove the product. And once you've got that evidence, then go and pitch to the bigger businesses. Bigger businesses may sound, I want to stock my item in Tesco. That's going to be amazing. It's going to make me so much money. It might. The time investment and the money investment to get there is huge. Can you meet the stocking levels they're going to require? Can you meet the delivery schedule they're going to require? But also, do you want all your eggs in one basket, or in 2 or 3 baskets? Or do you have your product into lots and lots of little stores and medium stores, and then if something goes wrong with one of those, it's a small impact on you? If something goes wrong with a Tesco contract and they pull it, what are you left with? So it's great to go for these bigger contracts, but be aware of the risk of putting all your eggs in that one basket. Personally, I would have lots and lots of local stores selling my product, and if one closes down or something, it's a small impact on me. Whereas if I lose a contract with a big supplier, that's a huge impact on me. So I hope that helps, Clive. Hannah on Twitter DM. Do you have any experience with your clients on phasing out non-recycling packaging? We have a contact with a company currently, but are hoping to find a more sustainable option. It takes a lot of time and research, Hannah. I've got lots of clients that have removed non-recyclable packaging, but there's so many variants to consider. What are you selling? What's the health and environmental requirements from a packaging point of view for protecting that product from bugs, etc.? There's some things that, yes, we want to get rid of non-recyclable packaging, but actually there's very little we can do. We can just reduce it because there's certain food standards that we have to maintain. So if you're looking, definitely research online. Have a look on Instagram, have a look on Google, and just have a look for what other people that are selling your products sell their products in packaging wise, and then go from there. There's some really easy wins. We can all get rid of plastic straws, plastic bags, etc. But if you're selling a food and drink product, there are certain requirements you're going to have to fulfill with non-recycling packaging that sometimes are a challenge to do. We've got cafes and restaurants. They started doing takeaways, and they wanted to use recyclable packaging. The problem with that was the bags, condensation from the hot food when it's delivered or taken away from the restaurant. Paper bags are not good when they get wet. So there's lots of little obstacles you've just got to overcome, really, and just really problem solve each little one, because you want that product to arrive in a certain condition to represent your brand and the quality of the products you're selling. So yeah, definitely one to keep researching. And And there are people out there that have achieved things. There are people out there that have just drawn the line and said, for food and safety reasons, whatever it is, we can't make this any more recyclable than it already is. So if that helps, Hannah, great. Sorry if it doesn't, but it's definitely something that a lot of our clients have looked at. Some have said they can achieve more, and they have done. Others have said we're doing as well as we can, but there's just no packaging out there that's recyclable that meets the requirements we have. So the next question is from Mohammed on Facebook Messenger. Last year, our energy provider went bust because of the energy price rises. We were with quite a green provider, but got moved to one that's not so good. Are there any particular energy companies you recommend us looking into? Have a look, Mohammed. Have a research on Google. There's everyone's shouting about their green credentials as energy providers. The one thing I would point out, though, is just because they're a green energy provider, that has no bearing on the price you pay. Because ultimately, all the energy from green, fossil fuels, nuclear, etc., gets pumped into the grid, and it all gets put into the grid and sold at the same price. So while the gas prices are going up, the price of energy that's coming from green sources goes up at the same rate, even though they're not related to gas. That's how the UK utility infrastructure works. So it's fantastic that we're all working with green energy providers, and our providers can trace back 80, 90, 100% of their energy to green sources. But a lot of people are now sat baffled as to why that means they're seeing the same price rises as everyone using gas, etc. So just be aware that green is fantastic and it's the way to go, and that's great kudos. Shout about it on your social media and stuff, but it has no bearing on the prices that you're paying. So yeah, just to bear that in mind, basically, Mohammed. Okay, our next question is from Benjamin on Twitter DM. What's the quickest way to add purchases that I made on eBay into an expense? I cannot get invoices from eBay, but I've made many purchases. Do I need receipt numbers? Okay, Benjamin, you can get invoices from eBay. They will generate a receipt, as it were, which is in effect an invoice. And as long as it's got the date, the purchase, whether it's got VAT, etc., on delivery charge, that's all you need. And you just need to take that and put it into QuickBooks. There's a few options for how you do that. You could forward that email onto QuickBooks receipt capture. So if you've not got that set up, definitely get it set up. It helps speed up the entering process. If you're selling on eBay, then there's lots of tools that will link QuickBooks to eBay to pull off the sales data. There's not so much to pull off available at the moment to pull off the purchases. But there's definitely ways to get receipts on eBay. My clients do it all the time. So that's completely doable. So I hope that helps, Benjamin. If you get stuck with it, just reach out to eBay and ask them to show you how to do it, or even YouTube it, because there'll be plenty of videos on how to get a receipt for an eBay purchase. Ronnie on Facebook Messenger. I've actually had quite a big problem with PayPal fees recently. They seem to take the fee out of the money from the customer, so then I get less income. This is fine for small orders, but big orders is a massive chunk that doesn't cover the cost of items. How do I rectify this without raising my prices? Okay, there's a few options here, Ronnie. One is to take that into account when you're charging people. The second one is to encourage people to pay directly into your bank account. So put your bank details on the invoice. And that way they will be able to pay directly into your bank account with no fees. The third way is there are payment providers out there other than PayPal. So we've got Stripe. It doesn't talk great with QuickBooks, but it's an option. There is one software that we're using with our clients called Cresco. Cresco puts a link into the email, into the invoice and the email that QuickBooks sends out, and your client will click on that, and it uses open banking to send the money from your client to you, which is great if they're using a bank account. If they're trying to pay you through credit cards, that's not so helpful. But there's definitely other payment options out there, and I'm more than happy to sit through and talk through with you what you're doing, how you're doing it, and see if we can find you a way to save some money. Like, we've got clients saving £100, £200 a month because they're using Cresco as a payment solution. So yeah, more than happy to have that chat with you, Ronnie. If you want to get in touch via LinkedIn or something, you're more than welcome to, and we can see if we can save you some money there. Okay. Hi, Johann. Sorry if I'm being, from Maya on Instagram. Hi, Johann. Sorry if I'm being a bit dim, but in QuickBooks, what's the difference between deposit and transfer? Okay, so easily confused. A deposit is money being paid into your bank account from a customer, a client, a supplier, whatever it is. A transfer is when you move money from one of your bank accounts to another, and they're both linked to QuickBooks. So if you're moving £1,000 from your bank account into your savings, that's a transfer. If you're moving £1,000 from your savings to your bank account, that's a transfer. If a customer deposits £1,000 to pay a bill and they pay that into your bank account, that's a deposit. If you take your cash takings from a shop and you put it into the bank, that's a deposit. So hopefully that helps, and that is simple enough to understand. Our last question of today, I think. So Gwen on Facebook Messenger. I'm a customer who owes me a substantial amount of money for a custom order. I'm talking thousands, but they've ghosted me wherever I've reached out with calls, emails, letters. What can I do? Should I take it to the courts, or is it not worth the legal fees? How can I protect myself from this in future? So Gwen, good question. First option is always letters, calls, emails, obviously. Secondly, if you're a member of organisations like the FSB, they have debt collection services available to you at a very reduced rate. There are lenders out there that will give you the money and take on the debt, and then they'll go and chase the debt, but they'll probably give you a reduced amount because of the work they're going to have to do to get the money. But there's also the small claims court. It's not hugely expensive to go through a small claims court, but it's very time consuming. And just because the court rules that you are owed that money doesn't mean you're going to get paid that money instantly. They may fight it. They may ignore court rulings. You may need to get bailiffs, and that could get expensive. But it's definitely worth having a chat with someone like the FSB, your accountant, because they'll know other people that can help you as well. So I hope that helps. But yeah, very frustrating position for you to be in. Cool. So poll results are in. We asked you, do you have a smart meter in your business? And I've already said at the start of this why it's so important to have that smart meter. So I'm pleased to see 40% of you got that smart meter. 60% haven't, but that's fine. Maybe something for this week's action list, go and get a smart meter. It's certainly a very powerful tool to give you a real insight into how you can save a bit of money in your business and become more sustainable. And also shout about it. Shout about it on social media. Show off that you've got your smart meter and what you're doing to reduce your energy and be more sustainable. So yeah, really good news that 40% of you got a smart meter. Fingers crossed that will increase if we ask the same question in a month's time. So thank you all for tuning in today. If you want to get in touch with me, you can drop me a message on LinkedIn. Just search Johann Goree and I will come up. Coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow is Anne-Marie Martin, founder and franchise of Diddy Dance. Tune in tomorrow to learn how your business can leverage social media trends such as the environmental impact, sustainability, utility price increases, and use that trend to find new customers. A reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. There's accountants, business owners, and experts in there 24/7 answering each other's questions. It's a fantastic community to be part of. Really enjoyed answering your questions today. As I say, feel free to reach out if you need anything. I'm on LinkedIn, and have a great day. Thank you very much.